Welcome to the Friday Power Lunch, a weekly show amplifying the voices of the Virginia grassroots. Each week, we provide engaging conversations about politics, culture, and women making change. Produced by the unstoppable women of Network Nova, our motto is, when we vote, we win. The Friday Power Lunch is recorded before a live Zoom audience. Follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and show us some love and become a sponsor through Patreon. The Friday Power Lunch. Badass women getting things done.
It is Friday, November 4th, and you are on the Friday Power Lunch, and I'm Katherine White, your hostess with the mostest, bringing you the guests, the issues, the action, amplifying the voice of the grassroots to get things done. And of course, you know us, we make it fun. And that's how we win, by the way. And today's theme is the election rally 2022. Let's get loud. And, you know, we do know, like I said, so much is at stake. I'm sure some of you watched Biden's speech. You know, we do need to get loud, and he got loud, bringing the urgency around what it means to lean into this election. You know, he said democracy itself is at stake in this upcoming election. He appealed to all of us Americans, regardless of party, to meet the moment of this general importance, because nothing is guaranteed. And we know it in this room, there's nothing guaranteed. Look what happened to women's rights, right? No guarantee there. Taken away in a flash. And this is why so much, I'm so glad you're all in the room today to get loud. And every generation, he said, has to defend it, protect it, preserve it, and choose it. For that's what democracy is. It's a choice, a decision of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that means you people in this room, the next 5 days, we're going all in, we're getting loud. And I know that you will get your crew and get everybody to the polls. So excited. Time to get loud and proud for our congressional candidates across Virginia to rally the vote. And today, I'm not going to bring them up on screen yet, but I want to shout out to who we have in the room. Congressman GERRY CONNOLLY is here. Give a wave. Congressman DON BEYER, Congresswoman JENNIFER WEXTON, woohoo! And we have representatives from ABIGAIL SPANBERGER's team, and we also have a special video she sent us. And we have candidate JOSH THORNEBURG, and we have candidate TAYSHA DEVAUGHN. Thank you for being in the room. She's ready. She's on the side of the road even. Thank you for being here, Tasha. And special candidate Katherine Reed, who we want to be the next mayor of Fairfax City. So thank you. This is so exciting for everybody to be in the room. But, you know, it's a show, so we have to do some housekeeping. Rules of the road. If you're new to the show, McKinney, give a wave, Michelle. She's our liaison chat. She will help you. If you have any questions about the show, just reach out to Michelle McKinney and she will help you. And also in the chat, share what's going on. Share what you're doing this weekend. Get excited, but don't get nasty. If you do, you know, the ambassador above, Stair, will give you a little kick out of the room. And our favorite time, and today is going to be extra special, is what we call the after chat. Stick around because we want to hear what you're doing, share this kind of events and the urgency around this election. So make sure you stay for the after chat. And today is going to be pretty special because all these actions we're going to collect, we're going to make sure that we have a special recap that's going to be sent out pretty urgency and right away. So if you're in here and you're working on a campaign, put those links in now so Robbin can gather them up for a special recap. So anybody in this room will get the list of all the actions so you know how to get loud. And also lastly, support the show. We have a Patreon subscription series. Yep, look at our mugs. Let me take a little sip. Delicious whiskey. I never knew it tastes so good in the morning. All right, so hopefully you can support our show. It helps us keep the lights on, and we love it. Thank you to the patrons in the room. That way, I'd like to call on our next guest, Louisa Borowski, leader of the Virginia Grassroots Coalition, to give a readout of how we're going to get loud this weekend. Go for it.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Katherine. I think the big thing for this weekend is, you know, we want voters to be informed and feel confident in their votes. And we know that there are reasons that they might not feel that way, right? Sometimes they are not sure exactly How are they supposed to be voting this year? Can they be doing their mail-in ballots? Should they be dropping them off in person? The best thing you can do is just get in touch with people you know and make sure that they are fully informed about their voting options. I was just talking to one of my fellows at Georgetown University, and she lives in Springfield, Virginia. And she said, oh my gosh, Louisa, I forgot to change my voter registration. I moved, and can I vote or is it too late? And I said, well, the great news is Democrats passed same-day voter registration. But because we know it's going to be really busy on Tuesday, if you can get to the polls on Saturday and do your voter registration and vote early that day, that is going to be easier and better in case there are any questions or anything that you need to address. So I think what we want to be doing is we want people to feel excited to vote and confident about voting this year. And that means helping share information. So you can share it on social media, and we have awesome graphics that you can be posting between now and Election Day for a couple of reasons. We want people to remember that the last day to vote early in person is going to be this Saturday. So if they can get out on Saturday, they can avoid lines, and it's just a great way to get engaged early. We also want them to remember if they got a mail-in ballot, it needs to be returned ASAP, and if possible, do it in person. We don't want it getting stuck in the mail, wondering if it's arrived on time. Also, if you take it in person and they see something missing, they will let you know, and you can fix it before it's submitted. And one of those things that we're trying to remind people is that, remember, there are 2 signatures that are needed on those mail-in ballots. That witness signature is critical. And a lot of the ballot curing, which I'll talk about in a second, that's been going on, is just getting back in touch with voters to say, look, we want your vote to count, but you didn't put that second signature on it. This is what you need to do to address that situation. So I was on a training for poll greeting earlier this week, and we were looking at the data just for Arlington County in terms of the number of mail-in ballots that are out and how many have been received back. And the fact is, we're behind in getting those in. You know, something like 13,000 were requested, only 5,000 have been returned. We need to make sure that these people know there are multiple ways to return their ballots. And if they really want to, just take the ballot they've received to their voting place and choose to vote in person instead, right? That's another great way to do it. So having this information, helping people understand what all their options are, is great. But one of the other big messages we have is, because there is same-day voter registration, we want people to know that they should just go and vote now. Just show up, bring a photo ID, and you're good to go. So we're really excited about that. Additionally, there is a Virginia voter hotline, and I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. If you have any questions or you encounter a voter who has questions, that hotline is there to answer questions and make sure all voters have the opportunity to vote. Obviously, the easiest way to make sure someone's voting is to knock on doors. So I'm going to put that information for our 3 women, Congresswomen, in the chat. Please, if you can get on doors, that's where you can answer some of these questions that people still have about where can I early vote? If I vote on Tuesday, what do I need to know, etc. And it also helps if you talk to them and you help them make a plan for voting, it's much more likely they'll go and vote. So instead of just saying, hey, are you voting? Are you voting in the morning on Tuesday? Will you be voting during lunch? Like, do you vote when your kids get off of school? Help them think through, what is my voting plan? And then lastly, you know, we still could use poll monitors, social media monitors who are going to help during the election, just to make sure that if there is misinformation out there, we're correcting it as quickly as possible. So if you have not already, you know, contact your local Democratic committee and sign up to be helpful on the day of the election. I will be opening a polling location at 5:30 in the morning. I will be closing a polling location at 7 p.m. as a poll greeter. It's so nice for someone to see a friendly face who can help you understand what your options are when you show up at the polls. You know, if it's somebody who needs help voting and they can't get out of their car, they can get someone to bring that ballot to them. These are just things that we want to make sure people are aware of. And we want to be able to thank everyone who does come and cast their ballot and is part of our democratic process.
Those are really great. And I'm going to tell you why too. I'm going on doors. I'm coming across voters. There was so many questions. So it is really important this weekend. I know people know this, but really, I to get off my, out my anxiety, because it's just so nerve-wracking this next couple of days. I just go knock doors. I went down to Spanberger's. And then once you get in the rhythm, you start talking to people. And I came across somebody in Spanberger's area that got the wrong notice sent about their polling location. So I was able to speak to them about that. And Spanberger's campaign was really good at telling us some of the things that we need to highlight to these voters. And also, like you said, returning the ballot. For the activists in the room, I think what you said, Louisa, the polls are really important. Another thing I noticed is that knocking doors in certain areas, the best thing we could do with our time is be right there when the voter votes. And we noted last election in Loudoun, there was funny business where Republicans signed up to work the polls. We have to be ready for everything. They hand out, sometimes we've had in Herndon, some, funny business with the ballot. We need to be where voters are coming. So please sign up. So thank you. Absolutely. And that's my lecture for today. Let's get loud. Thank you, Louisa, for doing everything you're doing, because let's go to our next segment, because we're going to start off with some of the badass congressionals that we've elected in this Northern Virginia region. We're going to bring up, of course, the first badass, the Irish one he's first. How are you? Hello. And look at this. You're getting loud. Who is this special guest?
So this is De Valera. He's 4 months old, and he's already a Democrat.
I love him. He is cute. And I love it because we need to, have this kind of strong joy in our work, don't we? Don't we, Congressman? It really have to be like tough and also have fun. So great.
Well,
so
he's a shelter puppy.
Yes.
And the animal shelter here in Fairfax County was great in helping us identify a new dog. So anyway, he's the newest member of our family. And I thought I'd cheer everyone up with puppy.
Yeah, I love it. We love it. Everybody. Debbie,
probably needs a little bit more money.
Oh, hold on.
So
I'm going to put that on mute. Can you put Lucy on mute for me, Robbin? Thank you. All right. So I would love to bring up also one of your favorite people, Jennifer Wexton, and then your other favorite, Don Beyer. So we can do a little round table in this section and really just build up. Great to see you, Congressman Beyer, and then Jennifer Wexton. All right, look at this power. We're getting loud.
I still hear
We're getting loud, and so
everything you're doing this year.
Hold on, Robbin. I need some help with the.
I can't mute her.
I was going to do 3 things.
Hold on one second.
The third is one of my favorite
technology.
That is, I'm going to introduce one of my favorite constituents.
Robbin,
who's in my district, out of my district, in my district, and it's just like
I can't stop it.
Jennifer McClellan, I hear her.
Yeah, it is. Okay,
I can't mute her for some reason.
Okay. Stair, can you mute her? She just can't. Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay, everybody. So let's get loud. So I wanted to start with you first, Jerry, since you came with the puppy, you came with a treat. Talk about, this election. We just go around and talk really about, your feelings, your emotions around this, why this is so important, and then what you're going to be doing to get loud for the next 5 days.
Well, I'm campaigning right up to the end. I was at an event for Abigail Spanberger in Prince William County this morning with Senator Warner, and I'm going to be at another canvas kickoff for Abby tomorrow morning in Woodbridge, Prince William County. So all of us need to give it, our very best. Here in Virginia, I mean, we know the stakes about reproductive rights, about climate change, about voting rights, about LGBTQ rights, on and on. The Democrats have delivered. The 117th Congress is maybe one of the most historic Congresses in the last half century. And we want to keep that good thing going. here in Virginia, we got three incredible women who absolutely need our help and our support. Jennifer Wexton's on this call. Jennifer Wexton is one of the most able members of the U.S. Congress. We're so lucky to get her on the Appropriations Committee, where she can do incredible things on behalf of our constituents in Virginia and throughout the country. And I'm going to let her speak, obviously, for herself, but I just wanted to put in that plug because we need Jennifer back, and we can't take anything for granted after redistricting, which Jennifer pointed out last week at a FCDC event she and I were on, along with Don. Abigail Spanberger, incredible voice, intelligence background. She's got a good shot because she's got Prince William County in redistricting, but she's also got a lot of territory that is very sympathetic to Trump. It's not easy stuff. And we've got to make sure we're doing everything we can for Jennifer and Abigail, and then Elaine Laurie. Elaine, maybe was the hardest hit in redistricting in terms of Democratic territory being taken away. She's fought back to a tied race, and with a little bit of luck, we can put that over the finish line. So we need all three of our colleagues back in the Congress. They're doing extraordinary things. And of course, Elaine's on the January 6th committee. Let me put in one more plug for another woman, and that's Katherine Reed, whom you introduced at the beginning. This is a mayor's race in Fairfax City. Her opponent works for Louis Gohmert. Her opponent worked on my committee, Oversight and Reform, for Darrell Issa. He's been there with some of the most partisan, wretched actions by a Republican majority, when it was in the majority, and has absolutely taken the other side on issues we care about, and then turns around and pretends he's not really a partisan Republican. He is, and he's a real, I think, potential threat to Democratic support in this part of Fairfax County. And so now, having said that, Katherine Reed will be the first woman ever elected to the mayor's office in Fairfax City. She brings sensitivity, sensibility, common sense, and a lot of knowledge to local issues. She'll be a phenomenal mayor. She has my full endorsement.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that she wins that race next Tuesday. So we have lots of races going on, and I didn't want to leave that one out because lots at stake, and that one's kind of under the radar. And so we got to make sure these four strong women either return to office or get office, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure that happens.
Yeah, and you have a lucky charm, Devi. You got your lucky charm, and that's what I like, and you got your fight, because I know we had you on, been almost 2 years now, when January 6th happened. We witnessed this. We saw Nancy Pelosi's husband that attacked there, and the ramped up violence. And so I think this is why we need these are congresswomen back in. It's just that protection we need, and it's so important. And truly, this is when we started doing this back in 2017. I mean, it was a treat to go into Loudoun. Remember, Jennifer? And when Barbara Comstock was still Congresswoman, we went in there, we marched in, and we're like, we're going to get you out of here. That's the same enthusiasm we need. So let's just go straight to you, Jennifer, because I know you've been sitting there just ready to talk. How are you feeling about the race? And then tell us, like, just what's at stake in your mind and what you're going to be doing, or what you have been doing to kind of to keep yourself sane.
I find myself feeling cautiously optimistic. Optimistic because I feel like I'm seeing good stuff on the doors and good stuff on the ground, but cautious because you never know what's going to happen. And my opponent is very, very able. He's also looks good on paper, and he's done a great job of presenting himself as a moderate, which obviously he's not. So we need to make sure that we get out every single vote that we can. I have an amazing field team and amazing volunteers on my campaign. I know a lot of people have already come out and knocked doors for us. We're knocking doors all weekend long. It's GOTV doors. My favorite kind of thing in the world is GOTV weekend. And thankfully, because we live in Virginia, we get to enjoy it every single year. But we have a great team. I know Michelle is one of my new constituents, so I love having her on the call. It's good to see her. So we're turning out people all the way from Rappahannock and Fauquier up to Loudoun County and down to Western Prince William, which is what my new district includes.
I'm interested. So when you're seeing, and I just love this weekend because all your girlfriends have come out. Let me just say, this is all the people that I have been working with to push out for this weekend for you. I'm looking at the list of people that are just coming to knock doors for you. They care so much. I mean, what does that mean to you when you see this people showing up for you?
That's what gives me strength to continue. I mean, it's tough out there. It really is. You know, you see all the political violence, you see all the attacks, you see all the hate, you see all the stuff online that's false and attacks and things like that. But seeing all the people like you guys fighting for us and having our backs means so much to me. That's
well,
what
you told a story too about your son. I mean, just about the young Dems, and really, isn't it? We say if the young people come out, and what you're feeling on that level with the young people, this generation.
The young people, they get it. I mean, they understand that the stakes are high, and they turned out in record numbers in 2020. We need to get them back out again this time. I feel like we're in a good place because I think things like seeing what we've done on climate change and what we needs to happen on that. And also things like Roe versus Wade being overturned. Right. I mean, for generations, I mean, you know, we thought that we would be safe, and now they're going to grow up with fewer rights than their moms did if we don't do something about it. So this is really, really important. This is going to set the stage for 2023, which is obviously going to be a huge, huge election here in Virginia. So yeah, super important. My son, for those of you who weren't on the call earlier, weren't privy to that. My son's a freshman at George Mason. He joined the Young Democrats, and he's been working for Catherine Reed's campaign. He's very, very vested in her race, and I didn't know Jerry that he worked for Sangi. He worked for Louis Gohmert, but I'm just going to tell him to spread that far and wide because that makes a big difference in terms of how he presents himself and what he really does in his regular life.
I love it. And so we'll just end the round table with Don Beyer. So, you know, you always
Catherine, I got to put one little plug.
Oh, please. You're not done. Go ahead.
JenniferWexton.com/events. We've got all kinds of kickoffs and all kinds of stuff happening this weekend. It'll tell you which of our 5 staging locations needs you and which of the best is for you to get to.
We will put all that in the chat.
The chat here is full of useful information.
It is so full that we are going to do a special recap so everybody gets it and doesn't lose a thing. So we know that we need to knock doors, and we'll make sure everybody gets all your staging locations, because truthfully, I'm excited about maybe the one on Monday with Tim Kaine is maybe a special guest. Wink, wink. I hope somebody fun. I'm not going to say anything, but let's get loud. So Don, what are you doing to be getting loud over there in Arlington? Are you getting people out to Wexton's? What's going on over there?
Yeah, we've got the Democrats abroad. I mean, Democrats going everywhere for Jennifer, for Abigail, even for Elaine.
Nice.
We've tried to, along with Jerry, send as much money as possible. I think we're north of $500,000 right now, just individual candidates, and just trying to get the excitement up. And I'm just so grateful to the Friday Power Lunch for you guys understanding that it is about the grassroots. It's about getting people out. We have enough people if they'll just show up. 2 things I want to point out that are under the radar. My old friend Ira Leshner, that maybe 1 or 2 people on this call will remember from 40 years ago, at 88 years old, has spent a couple $1 million registering kids around the country using Snapchat. 500,000 young people, including, I sent him money for the 3 women's districts in our country, not Jerry's and mine, to get those young people out. And now they're texting every one of them with the cell numbers. And my friend Frank White started a little group called Black Men Vote, specifically focused on Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, because again, they're typically underrepresented, and they're spending a lot of money just trying to get them out. These are things that don't show up in the polls, but we hope that they'll show up on Tuesday. I do want to comment that Jerry's dog is orange rather than yellow, but that's probably all the shelter had available for him.
It's really brown. It's copper brown. I was there.
Apricot, right? Yeah.
Apricot.
And the one thing that I just like to add too is there's so much everywhere about closing messages.
Yes.
And the Republican closing message comes back to inflation, which is hogwash. Because if you look again, I mean, we've created more than 10 million new jobs, 700,000 manufacturing jobs. Right. 261,000 jobs again this morning. Unemployment rates for African Americans, for Hispanics, for Asian Pacific, the lowest that they've ever been. We've reduced the prices for drugs. Insulin's now a $35 cap. Wages are rising pretty quickly. We get the child tax credit. I could go on for half an hour about all the incredible things that this president and this Congress have done to make our economy stronger than it's ever been. And we should not give them the inflation message, because we are much better in the economy than they are. And it shows up everywhere in their lives. And it will show up this month, next month, in food prices too.
No, it is the truth. And it's, voting, as I always remind everybody, it is emotional. It's how people feel. And so like when we're at the doors, people may start there and then we start to turn the conversation a bit, because there is some kind of overall anxiety. And of course, the platforms Republicans have to sort of turn this into this fear mongering. We're used to this, right? So thank you. I think staying positive is good. And that's why we wanted to get loud. Robbin, do we want to get loud a second? Before let's get loud. I mean, this is what we do. It's fun. And let's get loud. Let's get loud. There you go. Get that puppy out. So thank you all for being here. And I do want to say one thing before we leave, because we have Josh here and TAYSHA here. These are the tireless work of working out in those super red districts. And I think this is important. Jerry, do you have a word or two for how this is important, that we have folks running in CD 5 and 7 and 9 and Jennifer Lewis, but they're in the room. Josh has been running a great campaign. TAYSHA is just amazing. These are important to also elevate. Anybody have any words?
I would only say you don't win if you don't run.
That's right. And
I mean, sometimes things may look like long shots, and all of a sudden lightning strikes, especially with good campaigns and good candidates. So I applaud them, and hopefully they'll have a good night too.
And if all three of you send them a little money, I'm sure they need it. Josh is making some great ads. We're going to show it later, but there's that little last minute money. I know for paying people, they have it doesn't take a lot of money for them to make a big difference. So thank you all for coming in and getting loud with us. We will see you out this weekend on the doors. Jennifer, a big kiss, hug. You're very important to us. Your victory was really what started this whole thing across Virginia, my friend. So I will see you tomorrow, right?
Yes, you will. See you tomorrow. Bye.
10 a.m. We're going to be out there, Sterling office. And of course, there's going to be all kind of locations. Thank you, Congressman Beyer, Connolly, Wexton. Let's get loud. Let's move on. And to the next. Let's get loud. Let's get loud. All right. Everybody's ready. So next up, we are talking about some actions we could do. Is that right, Robbin? I'm over here getting my board up. I got so excited. So we're going to talk about also in the room. Yes, let's get loud with family and friends. So what we were talking about too, everybody in this room, the last things we can do to text, call, and even visit, send a personal letter or postcard or drop it off because we're getting late on the mail. But truthfully, I want to tell a quick story. I went out with my niece last night in Arlington. She lives, her address is to vote is in Loudon. And I couldn't believe that she wasn't ready to vote. She was like, well, I'm not really sure. And here she's 23. I thought she had a plan. And of course, I just stopped the whole dinner and I'm like, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go home and you're going to vote on Saturday. You can get your butt out of bed and go vote. And if I wouldn't have had that intervention, she would have not voted because she couldn't leave work on Tuesday. This is how important it is. You assume your people know stuff and then you talk to them and you're like, oh my gosh. So those are just little important things we can do. Getting on your phone, texting a friend right now that you're thinking about. It's amazing how you could move mountains with just doing that. All right. So next segment, I don't know where we are with Herb Jones's campaign. Robbin, do you want to let me know?
The rally is still going on.
Okay.
So why don't we go on to the next?
Yeah, let's do that because we want to make sure we go into that rally, but we just need a little bit more control over that loudness. I love it though. All right, so we want to make sure that we get loud for Josh Thornburg. But how are you, Josh? And TAYSHA DEVAUGHN, come on up. Let's do a little round table. Oh my gosh, I have to say, before we get started, I would love to show your ad that got, I think, retweeted by, well, who is the famous person that retweeted? I'm blanking now, Josh.
Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk.
The Hawk. Yeah, Robbin, do you have that teed up? I think this is when we talk about messaging and what a beautiful story. Robbin's going to show that. That is the ad Lonely you had made. So let's give it a second and she'll tee that up. Well, Taysha's ready in the car. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Reverend Josh Thorneburg, and this is my family.
I'm Minnie. I'm Lucy. I'm Agnes.
But according to Bob Good, our family shouldn't exist. His views put in vitro fertilization, immigration, and even interracial marriage all at risk. And that's a pretty lonely world. I believe in a welcoming, diverse, and beautiful America where the Thorneburg family and yours can flourish. And that's why I approve this message.
Oh my gosh, I love that ad. It's wonderful. So I want to check in with both of you about your campaign. And as I said to, the Northern Virginia, we have had, since we've been in the grassroots, that we are one Virginia. I'm so glad to see people going across borders and districts to help each other. So give us an update, Josh, and then I'll go to Taysha. How are things going out there in your district in CD5?
Yeah, well, I mean, things are going great out here. I know that people use the words like long shot. My opponent won by 5% last time. So it's not like this is a giant gap. And unlike Representative Wexton's opponent, who has passed himself off as a moderate, my opponent has never pretended for a day in his life to be a moderate. And so he is out on the extreme, standing up. If you don't know Bob Good, just watch a Marjorie Taylor Greene public interview and you'll see him standing right behind her every single time. So he is an extremist. He brags about that, right? He says, I'm ultra MAGA, my people are ultra MAGA. Like, he's not pretending. And that's divisive. I've got a Republican running for city council in Blackstone, Virginia, inside my district, who's out there as a Republican running, handing out my literature and telling people to vote for me because Bob Good is so terrible. So he's a real extreme guy. I was just up at a march with him 10 minutes ago, and he was speaking at a veterans march, and I had a veteran come over and say, yeah, he gets up in front and talks a big game and then votes against us every single opportunity he gets. So there's a real opportunity to kick him out. We've got really good, I don't know what other people are seeing in their districts, but right now between ages of 18 and 50 in our district, the biggest turnout are 18 to 24-year-olds. So we're seeing huge turnouts amongst the young population, and a lot more women have voted our district than men. So we're encouraged by those numbers, and now it just comes down to, can we get everybody out to vote this weekend? And thank you for showing the ad. It's now at the point where when I go around the district, that's how everyone, hey, this is Josh, remember his ad? Like, that's now the introduction point across the district. So it did work out pretty well for us, including the Hulk retweeting to his
the Hulk retweet. Well, because I think the story, it's always engaging, telling stories, right? And really what it looks like, when we can just talk these talks like, oh, let's just ban, reproductive rights. What does that look like? And let's go and build a wall. Well, what does that look like? And I think your ad is so powerful because it does that good messaging that sends like, okay, now this is not what we want, right?
Yeah. That's exactly right. We wanted it to, the language we were using was sometimes someone feels like they're the good guy, but in the fact they're actually the bad guy. And I think Bob Good thinks he's the good guy, but when you look at his actual, right, what it would produce, he's actually the villain in this story. And we kind of wanted to make that clear.
That's like that Wizard of Oz. The Oz wasn't the good guy in the end. I'm just saying. Well, I want to just stay here because we're going to go around and talk, and we're going to have a nice chat here. We're going in the car. TAYSHA DEVAUGHN, I'm so excited about your race too. I mean, when you stepped up to run, we were all over it. And Lindley Thorne's in the room. I know she's here because it's so important. You're in CD9. Tell us how you're feeling. How's it going for you? What are some insights that you've been hearing and on your, in your experience so far?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, everybody. And I would say that, I'm very optimistic. It is a tough race. This is a very red district. But what I can tell you is that we are pulling people, not just from the base. We are getting those non-voters. We're getting independent voters. I have had kids who just turned 18 who, normally do not vote unless it's a presidential election, who are excited for this and have gone out and cast their first ballots for me. We've even got, Republicans and conservatives who are coming over here because what we have done is really concentrated on the fact that, much like what Josh was saying, is that this person likes to tote the narrative that they're the good guy, but really they're not the good guy. Just look at their voting record. Look at the fact that they don't show up. We have held numerous candidate forums where my opponent has not showed up. He has not agreed to debate me. So we've really just been hammering in that point of I've crossed over 12,000 miles in a 9,000 square district and making sure that we are getting in front of people. And I think that story and that narrative, which is true, has been resonating across the district of, this is a person that's working hard. She's somebody who really cares about us and as a whole, not just the few. And that's really been pulling people in and getting people excited. And so what we've been talking about, now that we've got people interested, we've got people engaged, now we just need to get them out. We need to get them to the polls. Right. And, a lot of our area is rural areas. So it's, asking people for rides and asking people to do that. And what you guys can do in Northern Virginia for someone like me is phone calls. So Devaughn for Congress, if you're interested, please just send us an email and we will get you a list. And that has been very effective. The phone calls and the texting of just letting people know that there is an alternative. People are ready for change in the 9th, I think, is what makes me the most optimistic is people are very aware now of what we're up against. And like you said, there's so many things that are on the line and people want to get involved. They just want to make sure that they have a candidate that they can really get behind. And I think I'm that person. And we have a lot of excitement coming into this. So I hope so that you guys will be excited too and be willing to make some phone calls for me.
No, and that's what I wanted to ask. I'm glad you said what we can do for you. And I do think people donating money to these campaigns this is real important for campaigns like Josh and TAYSHA, is to have that little extra money right now. And, because this is the last couple of days. And so if any in the room, put your links in or have your campaign people in. You have $5-10. And it's just really important. It goes a long way out there. And I know that Roberta's sitting next to you going, yes, we need that money. We need to get on doors. So Josh, what can we do for you? I know we just talked about it, but what else is on your mind or last thoughts on this campaign? So excited these next couple of days. What are you going to do to get loud? What's your plan? Run around and woo. What are you going to do?
We're just going to knock thousands of doors is what we're going to do and drive people out. And I always want to say on Taysha's behalf, like when she says they were just waiting for the right candidate, I think she's the right candidate. She has really done an incredible job. And I think it's amazing that she stepped up and has really run a fantastic campaign. If people want to make phone calls, that's a huge deal. You can jump on our websites and you can find the ways to volunteer. We're going to be out knocking, we've got pretty decent weather for the next 3 days. So we're going to be out knocking doors and just doing tons of work, trying to drive those voters out. I tell everyone the last time in our district that we won was 2008 with Tom Perriello, and he won with 158,000 votes. But the very next year, which was the last time there was no president, no senator on the ballot, he went down to 109,000. He lost 50,000 people who just didn't come out. If even a fraction of them had come, he would have won re-election. So it's all about turnout at this point. We've persuaded as many as we can. So it's knocking doors and making calls.
All right. TAYSHA, any last words, comments? What are you going to do to get loud?
I'm still campaigning till the very end. I'm out knocking doors. I'm going to precincts for early registration at the registrar's office so people can see me. We are having a rally on Sunday. So we're just going to keep going and keep doing what we've been doing.
I love it. I love it. We need to get pumped up. That's for sure. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Everybody in the room, show the love. This is important in Virginia. We learn a lesson. is that we pay attention to everywhere. Rural Virginia, good luck on the road, be safe. And I want to next come up with the Jackson from the Spanberger campaign, because we're going to show a special video that Abigail sent to us. If we can cue that up, Robbin, and put Jackson on the screen, get Jackson ready to go if we can find him. Abigail is right now at a mosque, I think, doing some voter outreach or speaking. So she did send us something special. And then go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Abigail Spanberger, representative for Virginia's 7th Congressional District, and I am on the ballot again this year. As you all will know, we have an incredibly competitive race, and we are rock and rolling here in Virginia's 7th District. I appreciate everybody's support. And as we head towards the last day to vote, which is Election Day, November the 8th, we need people to continue knocking doors, greet people at the polls, make phone calls, and get our voters out. The stakes of this election could not be clearer, and the contrast between my opponent and me could not be clearer. I am running against someone who has doubted whether women can get pregnant from rape, has called FBI agents deep state and corrupt, has defended the January 6th insurrectionists, and has provided no plans for any of the policies that she would want to move forward. I am a problem-solving, pragmatic legislator focused on governance and doing right by the people of Virginia's 7th District and Virginia overall, and I want to keep serving at this time. So thank you so much to everybody for all of your work, and I hope to see you on the doors at future events. And we have a rally coming up on Saturday, October 15th in Dale City at 10 a.m. And I hope you can join us there. Thanks so much.
Yeah, obviously she made that early. Jackson, I'm glad you can pop in the room, and thank you for making sure that Abigail had a presence on this. Give us a little insight. How's it looking down there?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Katherine. And one, thank you so much for all the familiar faces who are on this call, who have dedicated their time or their resources to this toss-up race. So my name is Jackson. I use he, him pronouns. I'm proud to be Abigail's deputy field director for this cycle. Yeah, as many of y'all know, right, this race has been relabeled a toss-up. And what we know, though, from Abigail's history in public life is this is where her leadership and her team really shine. She has only won in toss-up, so it's just time to do it again. I'm really proud what we're hearing on the doors. We actually set our own record last weekend. Between Saturday and Sunday, we knocked well over 20,000 doors in almost every single locality. So our team is local, and we have organizers quite literally spanning the 7th District, which as a native Virginian, I'm incredibly proud of. But looking over this next weekend, that 20,000 number is simply not enough. My management style is all about transparency as a sign of respect, and as a motivating force. And what we're seeing from our other side is whether it's state or national Republican leaders, they are dumping record investments in this race, trying to astroturf it.
They want it. They want it.
They want it. And, you know, who can blame them? Because Abigail's leadership shines incredibly bright. But, you know, when you bring in personalities like Tulsi Gabbard and Ted Cruz stepping for you in the last couple weeks, you know that nothing is off the table. And so what we know for these next 4 days, this next weekend, is whichever campaign has more meaningful conversations with more voters will take this thing. That's just simply what it's going to come down to.
Right.
And our goal is to surpass 65,000 doors in a weekend.
You have Swing Left coming down. They're coming in buses. They're going down to Luria's. We've been pushing that. We've been highlighting, you know, it's hard, highlighting Wexton's events, your events, and we're spreading out all over. And it's really important we support each other. That's the only way we're going to win too, right? With that positivity. And
absolutely.
I want to say something when I have your ear is I was down canvassing in your area, and you know, sometimes you get the doors, no one's home. I leave special postcards and write a little note, but a lot of Hispanic voters, and when I speak to them, talking about Vega, and I know this is, really important to, to talk to these voters because they may be Democrats and then get very much like confused. Well, look at this wonderful young, person. It may look like to them to vote for her. So it's really important you're indoors to talk about the values, to talk about who Abigail is. It really makes a difference. And I think for your district, being at the polls, talking to voters as they vote is going to be really super important. I think that's where people can make the really big difference to make sure they're getting it into their hands.
100%. And just reflecting over these past several months, it's been really a unique opportunity for me to be a student to that kind of coalition building,
right?
Because Abigail, along in tandem with community leaders, has led a series of monolingual like Spanish language canvas launches. Nice. We see Abigail more and more on Spanish language media. And the woman speaks 4 languages, right? That's from her time in, right, the CIA and federal law enforcement. So it's really cool for her to kind of flex those skills. And so looking at these 4 days, because I know we're short on time, and,
yes,
and it's just humbling to be in a room with just an amazing group of leaders. There's clearly a hierarchy of need, right? Obviously, right, we are going for exceeding that 65,000 door goal. So our number one need is canvassing. In some of our localities, we actually have experienced an absurdly high contact rate, upwards of about 30%, meaning one in every 3 doors you knock, someone will open the door, and more often than not, they're more than open to learning about Abigail and learning about what's at stake and the contrast that Abigail cited between her and her opponent.
Can you hold on 1 second, Jackson?
Yeah, of course.
We're in real time. Robbin, do we have the Herb campaign still in the room? I don't want to make sure we don't miss
No,
them.
unfortunately, they've left the room.
They left the room. Okay, just sorry, Jackson. I know that Herb had Tim Kaine there. Just want to make sure. Yeah, so canvassing, knocking, texting.
Yeah, so canvassing and then phone calls. Again, just you can't really replace that direct photo contact. Of course, right, if you've been hopping on like Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays during the week, right, you've either seen me or some of our superstar interns running our text banks. That will be running all day, every day through election day.
Oh,
so
I'm sorry. There's Ella Webster just said that she is there, so I'm gonna go.
Is she there? Awesome.
Oh wait, no, but she's not live at the event. But we're
okay. Look at us. We're just live. We're doing a rally. But Jackson, put your stuff in the recap, and so this group will read everything. I want to make sure we bring up in our next segment. We're getting up to the hour. Okay. Thank you, Jackson, for showing up. It means a lot to us, your leadership. And Robbin, I'm in your hands. What do we got?
We're going to bring in Katherine.
Katherine Reed. Well, I tell you what, are you excited? Are you getting loud? Are you feeling good?
I am getting loud, and I am so grateful for the support of the women at Network Nova. And you came out to a canvas last week. I've been surrounded by longtime friends. I have made new friends. I am so appreciative of the fact that I have people who are showing up for me, who are deeply invested in the outcome of this race, even if they can't vote here in Fairfax City.
Yeah, I'm excited. So when we talked about this, I mean, we have had a relationship since we got started in 2017. You've been really instrumental in helping us. And every time when we talk about Katherine Reed, it's always, she empowers everybody. And when Stair last week was just hell-bent on making sure everybody was going out for the event you're having, she's like, we're going to show up for Katherine. She shows up for us. And that's when we talk about this, the power of women, the power of how we organize in relationships. And what does that look like to you right now that you stepped up? And like you said, the power that people are, those bonds.
It was amazing. I jumped into the race a week before the filing deadline because there was only this Republican candidate and no one would run against him. He had a lot of money in the bank. And even though there were people in the city who could have run against him, they just didn't, and they wouldn't. And so we thought this was unconscionable. We're a very progressive city in Northern Virginia. To have a Republican in an open seat become mayor by default on June 22nd, it's unconscionable. So when I sent out an email saying I was going to run, I have to tell you, the people who showed up, and they were the people in this city who went and collected ballot petition signatures for me. You know, we had a week to get them filed with the registrar's office.
Right.
I was certified at 10:30 in the morning the last day to file. And it was because of this army of women who showed up at my house and said, give me a ballot petition signature. And they canvassed neighborhoods. I went to one of my neighbors and said, hey, Mike, I wanted to see if you could sign he goes, 3 people have already asked me to sign your ballot petition signature. So we got on the ballot and it just didn't stop there. I mean, Holly Siebold and Stella Pekarsky threw my first fundraiser in July. On July 4th, now imagine we qualified on the 21st. On July 4th, we marched in the parade, and Erica Yalowitz walked every step of the parade route with me. That is a friend. And and there's so many women. My campaign manager took me a while to find the right person, but Laura Stokes is someone I've known for a decade, and she has put everything on hold up into her life to be at my house every day for 10 hours a day, organizing canvases, of which we have 2 this weekend, but organizing canvases and her outreach to the press and organizing people. It has been amazing. Natalia Parmalee is my treasurer. Deb Smith has done all the logo work. They're my neighbors, and they're city Dems. And then the moms, Laura introduced me to the moms in Fairfax City who have school-aged children. My children are in their 30s. Right. And these women have stepped up. They have hosted meet and greets. They have done T-shirts. They've designed things, our tote bags. It's just amazed me how women have immediately stepped up and they have worked their hearts out for this campaign.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to say something. It was so fun to come over your house, and Laura has been there every day, and like, I can't think of a better place to be than your house. Behind you, let's show everybody the she shed. Look at the she shed. This is behind her house, and this is great. Who doesn't want a she shed? What do we do in the she shed? What happens there?
You know, Tom says it's like walking into the inside of my brain. And this is what I did during COVID. And so it's got art, it's got, there's so many magnets on the side of our beer refrigerator in there that is like my political life for the last 14 years. And, pictures of you are in there, Katherine, and so many other people that have, I've been a part of other people's campaigns and part of, so many things. And those little magnets are just stuck on the side of that refrigerator. But it is the inside of my brain in there. And I think every woman deserves to have a room of her own. And this is my room of my own.
I am ready to build a she shed. I think all the plans in here, if anybody in the room, if you have I always wanted a special room, that kind of a place you can go smoke cigars, not that we smoke cigars, but that hangout. I just found it so empowering and fun when I'm like, Katherine has this great structure, and it really does symbolize, actually, I think maybe how we do roll. But I want to say thank you for standing up and running, and we're excited for you this weekend. I know you're going to be the mayor. You're right down the street, and we do need to pay attention to local races, because this is the Republican plan, is to come in at these local levels, and it really makes a difference, because we know zoning for Fairfax, the city of Fairfax, we talk about access, education, access to reproductive care. All this can happen at a local level.
Don't be put off. What really made me angry in all of this is the people in this city who are like, don't nationalize our local race, as if these things like abortion access and transgender rights for school children are not local. My campaign manager has a trans child in our city schools. It's one of the reasons that she is doing everything possible to make sure that her local government is going to support her child and push back against these Youngkin transgender education policy changes. I mean, I was really motivated by the fact that people in my own community, first of all, try to hide behind nonpartisanship. That's the Republicans. If somebody calls himself nonpartisan, they're probably a Republican here. And the fact that they refuse to look at the fact that people who live here want equal rights. They want equality under the law. They want to feel protected in their own local community.
So
No.
Catherine, Ella Webster is here and she can say a few words about the Herb Jones
good.
campaign
Oh,
for us,
good.
but she has to come on now because she's got to
Let's
go
do
see
it.
patients.
Just bring her on with Catherine. Catherine doesn't have to go away. Just pop her in. Ella Webster.
Hey, so I'm here
Ella.
at work. I'm a full-time physician, and everybody from the paid staff is tied up at campaign events today. Big things for her, get out and knock doors this weekend, particularly up in the Richmond area. If you want to call people who have requested mail-in ballots but not returned them, email info@herbjonesforvirginia.com and I will send you a small list of people who live somewhere near you. We're trying to make sure everybody has a witness if they need it, a ride to the drop box. Mailing things up through Monday morning is probably fine. After that, got to do the drop box, and it's got to be in by 7 p.m. on Wednesday.
Can you put that in the chat
for us
before
Ella.
you leave? So we
I
have
did.
that?
I did.
Okay.
And I will say I talked Herb into this back in April, and I'm so glad because he's just done a phenomenal job. And I know I'm living in a little Democratic bubble, but the number of people who come up to us in restaurants and say, I voted for you, or I saw your sign on my street, or you've got all these signs up and the other guy, he doesn't have so many. And it's like,
yeah, I love it. Well,
I'm living in hope, which is scary.
Right. We were sad we couldn't, we were trying to make it work. We were willing, we wanted to really go into the rally, but it must have been that on the telephone, they kept hitting the unmute and it was just,
it's
it was
chaos.
It's chaos. It's fun. It's getting
which is
wild.
good. Isn't it great? And our favorite senator, Tim Kaine, is there.
That's awesome. So maybe
and our next governor.
Yeah.
Jennifer
If you have
McClellan.
the ability to get back to Lucy or anybody, we'll be in the after chat, for a while. So why don't you just tell them, come on in, I'll let them in. Let her in. We know never too late to get loud. So thank you, Ella. And Catherine, my friend, good luck this weekend. I want everybody in the room. We need to wrap up. It's 1:01 and it's time to get loud for, getting out the votes. I hope you all have a plan and you can stay for the after chat. I want to thank you to all of our guests, all the congressmen, Gerry Connolly, Don Beyer, Congressman Wexton. We had candidate Josh Thornburg, yay, and TAYSHA DEVAUGHN, candidate in CD9. And I'm just so excited they can come in the room. And of course, Herb couldn't make it, but our guest Catherine Reed being here. Thank you, Catherine, for showing up. Let's do, and for Jackson from the Abigail campaign, let's do some closing stuff. We got to do our housekeeping. You will get that recap and it's going to have all the calls to action. If you want to support our show, we're here every Friday. Next Friday, November 11th, we're going to do an unpack of this election. We're going to have a great roundtable from the grassroots. And then we're also going to have Tom Bonner from Target Smart talk about the numbers. So this will be really exciting. We bring this programming to you every week when we can. And I want to say a big thank you to the team that makes it happen, Robbin Warner, and enjoy your trip overseas. She'll be leaving us soon. Show Wizard, Stair Calhoun, Ambassador of Buzz. Fennell Norton's not here today. She's getting, I think she's taking a test today, but thank you to Fennell. Heidi Dragneff, social media diva, Denis Orsinger. Oh my gosh, great. All the graphics, thank you. And Laura Martinez, Zoom crew, thank you. And Michelle McKinney, always making people feel comfortable. Thank you, Michelle. And our content concierges, Julie Galdo, Alvina McHale, and Sally Reinholdt.